Day 3 of SEC Media Days here at the Omni Hotel. Big day today. Alabama was here. Jeff Lebby was here. Texas Longhorns were here. Anybody talk to anybody from Florida?
No, I forgot they existed.
No, we didn't forget, but we had other priorities. Yeah, don't do the gator chomp in somebody's face. That's a 15-yard penalty.
15-yard penalty.
That's what we found out earlier in the week here at SEC.
It's a big
I
SEC
almost
media day.
said it. And that would be the first time all week, right, guys?
Yeah, it would be.
First time.
It would be.
Haven't said it all week. Haven't said Big 12 Media Days once, except for just now. So we talked to Kalen DeBoer today, the new Alabama football coach. This guy is going to be successful no matter what level he coaches at. But it was a little awkward, guys, I got to say, when he stands up in front of the big room at SEC Media Days, and Nick Saban is in the back of the room on the set of ESPN. It was a little bit awkward, but he had a lot to say.
It was a little bit awkward, and of course, Kalen DeBoer, especially with Nick Saban in the room, was going to give him his props, and he did that to start the press conference. I thought it was really interesting what he mentioned about Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe, talking about some of the improvements that he's made over the offseason, really talking about how hard he's worked, him being one of the first guys in the facility, and I think that's really interesting for OU because obviously Oklahoma struggled against mobile quarterbacks last year. We saw Jason Bean run up and down against Oklahoma's defense, and Jalen Milroe is an even better quarterback, much more mobile than Jason Bean is, and so if Oklahoma's defense is not more diligent this year, if they're not able to as disciplined, the word I was looking for, then I think that Jalen Milroe will have a chance to gash them again when Alabama comes to town on November 23rd. But it is interesting to hear from another coach. It's not just Brent Venables and Steve Sarkisian that are entering their first years in the SEC. It's also Kalen DeBoer. But like you mentioned, a lot of success at Washington, before that at Fresno State, and even before that at the NAI level at Sioux Falls.
One of the things I like that Kalen DeBoer said is sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And that's a fact. We come here to SEC Media Days talking about Big 12 Media Days, right? We don't know what we don't know. We don't know that there's 1,200 credentials that have been issued for this thing. Last year at Big 12 Media Days, there were 700, and that was just over in Arlington. So, this is, they say it just means more. This is what it means. Radio Row is right behind you guys over there. It is about 5 times bigger than what Radio Row was in 14, when the Big 12 had media days here.
And it's a who's who of college football media personalities.
Nick Saban is on the Paul Feinbaum show about 10 feet away from us. It's pretty cool. On the other side of the glass, as they say.
It's cool for you. My show got interrupted by Paul Feinbaum this morning yelling about Lincoln Riley. So you read about Sooners on SI and go check out the new site while you're at it. The new layout of the site, that is.
Sooners on SI. Just Google Sooners on SI. Go to si.com/college/Oklahoma if you want the actual address. Bookmark that thing because we're going to be here for a couple more days.
Yep.
Ryan, you wrote about Jeff Lebby in Mississippi State today. He's got a big debt to one Brent Venables.
Yeah, Brent Venables brought Jeff Lebby back to his alma mater, and he talked about being part of that process, and now something that's very cognizant, very prescient for Jeff Lebby, which is a top coordinator, Brent Venables, top defensive coordinator, made that transition to head coach. That's exactly what Jeff Lebby is doing this offseason, a top offensive coordinator making the transition to Mississippi State's head coach. He talked a lot about the debt to Venables, not just for a continued coaching development, but for showing him this is what it looks like in this modern era of college football to build out of the transfer portal. Here's how you protect your locker room those first 6 months while you're trying to lay the foundation to make that jump from year 1 to year 2. Jeff Lebby talked about all of those things as big lessons he learned from Brent Venables. Just be able to watch him over the last 2 years as Jeff Lebby helped lay the foundation for Brent at Oklahoma.
He also talked a little bit about Jackson Arnold. Got a question about Jackson Arnold. Said everybody here knows how I feel about Jackson Arnold. And that was kind of it.
He hates it. No.
So, but I did get a chance to talk to Jeff Lebby's boss briefly in the back of the room. Everybody's favorite, Zach Selman, one of the Selman brothers' sons, right? Dewey's son. Zach is now the athletic director at Mississippi State, and Zach is special, man. The first thing I haven't seen him in a couple of years, but the first thing he says is, "Hey, wow, look at you! How much weight have you lost?" And I said, "Me? What?" That's how successful Zach is going to be in life. He remembers people, he knows people, he connects with people on a personal level. So I thought that was really cool. He said, I'm busy chasing little kids around, so good for him. It's a good stage of life to be at. Like I said, we'll skip over Florida, and Billy Napier had some really good things to say. We can't get to all of them, unfortunately, so we're going to jump into the Texas Longhorns. Steve Sarkisian, Quinn Ewers Kelvin Banks. Who was the third?
It was
Jade Barron.
Yeah, Barron.
Barron was here. So those guys obviously had a lot to say. What I wrote about for Texas was not being stuck in complacency, not having that hunter mentality still rather than the hunted mentality. Can you play from ahead, so to speak? Can you play as the favorite? And he said that complacency is not going to be a problem because this is the deepest team he's had, this is the most talented team he's had, and this may be the hungriest team he's had. So he's pretty fired up about that. Just in general. Now, you picked up a snippet that he talked about, Randall, from the OU Texas game. I thought that was really fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, when asked about, obviously Steve Sarkisian being a coach at Alabama in the past, an offensive coordinator, and now being the head coach at Texas, he's had the opportunity to coach in the Iron Bowl and in the Red River rivalry. Two rivalries that are often, kind of compared when you talk about some of the best rivalries in college football. And when asked directly, which one he thought was better, he kind of said that the Red River rivalry is something special. He kind of mentioned, the way that the stadium is split 50-50. He talked about, the smell of the corn dogs when you enter the state fair, which I think is something that we're all missing right now.
It's one of my favorites.
I think my favorite quote from that was that it's half a home game and half an away game, which I think is a really interesting perspective. And it's very true. If you've been to that game, if you've been on the field, you know that that's the truth. And I thought it was really interesting to hear a coach say that because it's a phrase I've never heard before.
We'll finish up with this. Ryan spent part of the day with Quinn Ewers, who spent part of his summer with Jackson Arnold.
Yeah.
That was fun too.
A lot of those guys at the Manning Passing Academy over the summer. Quinn did check in with Jackson Arnold. Quinn, South Lake guy, Jackson Arnold didn't guy. So they're around each other, though Quinn said they never actually faced off head to head. But Quinn Ewers actually looking forward to talking with Jackson Arnold. He said he was a really cool dude, really cool guy, easy to hang around. And he did say, hey, young guy, I really enjoy seeing how those guys pan out. He's excited to follow Jackson's career. He had some really complimentary things to say about his arm talent, all that stuff, which you can head to Sooners on SI and read about. But he did throw that nugget in there. He thinks excited to see how they'll turn out, wishing good things for Jackson Arnold, except for one game. I'm sure he's talking about that trip to Auburn. I think that's the one that he hopes Auburn prevents.
Speaking of Auburn, tomorrow Auburn comes to town. Texas A&M, Arkansas, and Kentucky. Mark Stoops is going to be here, so we'll get some time with those guys as well. Looking forward to day 4 of SEC Media Days. See, I did it. I didn't say Big 12. Guys, I've been doing this for 25 years. I've been saying Big 12 Media Days for 25 years. So if I let it slip, please forgive me.
Helps to have a day 4 to be on the front of that. You never got to day 4 of Big 12 Media Days.
Day 4 SEC Media Days tomorrow. Sooners on SI will be here. Hey, if you guys are looking for the podcast, if you're eager to hear the podcast, we're going to drop one tonight right inside this room. Looking forward to returning to the podcast. Get back to Sooners on SI to check out all our work from today and all week long.